I'm going to be comparing the Descendants movies, which were originally on Disney Channel and are now on Disney Plus, to the Insidious movies. The most recent Insidious movie came out last year, whereas the most recent Descendants movie came out this year. When you look at the highest score for each franchise, in the case of Descendants, the first movie has the highest score of 90%. In the case of Insidious, the first movie has the highest score of only 66%, which is not a fantastic score. Then when you look at lowest score for each franchise, in the case of Descendants, the newest movie, the spin-off Rise of Red, only has a 50%. In the case of Insidious, lowest score is 33% for The Last Key. So Descendants wins again. Then when you look at average score, Descendants is an average of 75, while Insidious is an average of 46. So Descendants wins here. Then when you look at gap between lowest and highest score, in the case of Descendants, you have a gap of 40. In the case of Insidious, you have a gap of 33. So Insidious wins this round, but because Descendants won the first 3 rounds, it's going to win this debate regardless of my personal opinion. Let's look at that now. Which franchise do I prefer? Now, to be clear, I haven't actually seen any of the Insidious movies. I've watched all the Descendants movies. In this case, I would definitely say Descendants is the franchise I prefer. It's inherently the kind of thing I like a bit more. I think that Descendants found an interesting new angle to look at these Disney characters from that I haven't seen other movies explore. Descendants is looking at this idea of what if famous Disney villains had children? What if these children were invited over to the island Arabon? We learned that Arbonne is where all the good fairy tale characters are, like Belle and the Beast, the fairy godmother from Cinderella, and other people as well. Then you have this different island called the Isle of the Lost, where the villains, all their kids, were exiled to. So in the first movie, you have these 4 kids. One of them, Mal, is the daughter of Maleficent. Then you have Evie, the daughter of the evil queen from Snow White. Then you have 2 kids that are the son of Jafar and the son of Cruella. They're all invited over to Arabon by the son of Belle and the Beast. A lot of the people on the island are very skeptical about these evil kids coming over, but then by the end of the movie, the kids all choose good, so it's heartwarming. Then you get into Descendants 2, and because Mao is feeling pressure to dress the way the other people do, she feels like, oh, this isn't who I really am. So she actually decides to leave Arabon because she wasn't wasn't ready for all the pressure that comes with marrying the son of Belle and the Beast. But then the conflict is resolved by the end. She ends up coming back to Arabon. And then Descendants Free is actually about how the daughter of the fairy godmother is really mad at first because she was thinking that she was going to marry the Belle and the Beast kid, but then ended up actually being Mao. And she feels that Mao took everything away from her and thus ends up stealing this staff along with the crown in order to try to get revenge on Mao. But then Mao apologizes by the end of the movie, and so the 2 of them reconcile. And then it ends with a song just like the first 2 movies. And in Rise of the Red, we're actually introduced to the daughter of the Red Queen from Wonderland. I think it's pretty interesting of bringing Wonderland into the mix. Admittedly, it does feel odd when one of our 4 main kids that was in the first 3 movies is suddenly just absent from this one without any explanation for it. I mean, you don't actually see Mal along with Bella and the Beast kid, but we learn why it is they're not there anymore. One of our four main kids we were following for 3 movies suddenly is just gone. That also applies to the short called Royal Wedding, which this movie's a continuation of. It feels very strange, but I still certainly had fun with Descendants Rise of Red. It seems to me like the Insidious franchise hasn't been doing that well lately. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rise of Red was certainly not received as well as the previous Descendants movies, but I don't think it's the same as the Insidious franchise, where it's just been a drop off after the first movie. Things haven't been as strong. Though in this case, it's not actually hard for me at all to say which franchise I prefer. It's pretty easily Descendants. So I'll wrap things up.